Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and I have another block for you. Today it's called Mrs. Taft's Choice, and this one is made with a lot of half square triangles and just a couple of single squares. So this one goes together really easily and actually pretty quickly, and I hope you'll join me and I'll show you how to make Mrs. Taft's Choice. Here are the fabrics you need to make Mrs. Taft's Choice. For A, you'll need 2 3.5 inch squares. For B, you will need 3 4-inch squares. For C, you'll need 4 4-inch squares. D is 5 4-inch squares, and E is 2 3.5-inch squares. And you'll need to draw a diagonal line on one of the C squares and all of the D squares for your half square triangles. So I'm going to adjust the camera and we'll get started making Mrs. Taft's Choice. Okay, we are going to get started by taking one B square and then the C square that you've drawn a diagonal line on the wrong side, and we're going to put those right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch away on both sides of that drawn line. So we'll make 2 half square triangles here. Okay, and then I need to cut right on the drawn line. And they'll have 2 half square triangles. Now these need to be trimmed down to measure 3.5 inches square. So these measure probably 3 5/8 right now, maybe a little bit larger. So I'll press and trim these down here in a minute, but I'm going to finish the rest of the half square triangles. So the next one we need to do is we're going to use the rest of the C squares and the D squares. So we have 3 C squares and I need 3 D squares. So I'm going to take 3, that will give me 2 D squares left. Now I notice there's quite a few new people who have subscribed to the channel, and want to welcome you and explain a little bit. I am sewing on a vintage sewing machine. This is a Singer 1590 and it's a 1947 model, and I have several vintage sewing machines, and from time to time I sew on these, and right now this will be what I'll be sewing on exclusively probably for the next year or more. My modern sewing machine I wore out, and so now I just went back to my vintage machine. So it works well. The only thing, it's just a straight stitch. It will go in reverse, but I can't get any decorative stitches on this. So it works perfectly well for piecing quilts. Okay, I'm going to cut the chains between these, and then I'm going to cut on the drawn line. And see, now I'll have 6 of these half square triangles. And these need to be trimmed down to 3.5 inches also. Okay, and the last set of half square triangles are going to be with the B squares and the D squares. So we should have 2 of each. And do the same thing, right sides together, so 1/4 inch away from the drawn line. And then cut on that drawn line and trim down to 3.5 inches square. Okay, so now I've laid out all the pieces for the block. So watch your diagram really closely. What you want is all the same color to go through the center, and then these 2 corners are the opposite corner. So your focal fabric is in the center, and then your supporting fabrics on the 2 opposite corners. So watch your diagram, make sure you have all of your half square triangles facing the right direction, and then you have your 2 solid background squares here, which are your E squares. Your A squares are here in the middle. So you can see those right there. So this is how it all goes together. And I'm going to go ahead and sew this into rows. So I'm going to start on this side and lay my pieces. Make sure I'm going the right direction here. Make sure they go this way. And then I'm going to sew down this seam. These pieces, I will do the same. I'll sew them down here, and then I'll sew the 2 units together. Okay, so here are all the rows laid out. I have them all sewn together, so I just have to sew them to each other. Now there are points for all of these here, so I'm going to place a pin in the point. Like there's a pin here going through this point, I'm going to put it through this point here, and then just line those up so that they will hopefully meet. And I'm nesting that seam at the same time. Okay, here is our finished block. This is Mrs. Taft's Choice, and I think that turned out pretty well. And you can compare it here to my sample. This is with some Lori Holt fabrics with the blue and the teal, and then this is Nutmeg, so we have the darker blue and a lighter blue on the outside. So I think it turned out well. So I hope you'll give this block a try. Well, that is it for Mrs. Taft's Choice. I hope you enjoyed this video, and here's the completed block. This one is made with the Nutmeg fabric line, and the one I showed you at the beginning was my sample block, and this one is made with some Lori Holt fabric. Some of it is cookbook, and the other I believe is a basic. I really don't remember. These came out of my stash. They're just some leftover scraps from previous projects. But anyway, I think they're both pretty, and I'm looking forward to making some more blocks with the Nutmeg line. I think this is a really pretty line. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links, and to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.